And welcome back. There are some facts about Colorado that will likely never change. Colorado's state bird is the lark bunting, the state fossil, the stegosaurus, the flower, the columbine, of course. Some things do change. Just recently, Bobby LeFebre was named Colorado's new poet laureate.
Denver, where have you gone? Last night I walked your streets in search of you. Bounced around like a schizophrenic firecracker, handing out missing person flyers that bore your image. I used an old photo, one before the facelift.
And Bobby's here. We're delighted to have you here with us. You're actually the youngest one in Colorado history, and this has been for 100 years.
Absolutely.
We've had a poet laureate.
Yes.
That must be exciting for you.
It feels really, really good.
So what does that mean? What do you do?
You know, officially the Poet Laureate serves as sort of a sounding board for poetry across the state. I travel across the state connecting with people through poetry and really serve as an advocate for literacy, poetry, and human connection.
I know you view this job as a cultural translator. These are your words, and a truth teller. What do you mean by that?
Yeah, you know, I think so much of the poet's job is to distill humanity in messages and to share that with people, to create common bonds. I think right now there's so many things that are trying to tear people apart, and I think right now we need things like poetry and poets more than ever. So my goal is to use poetry as sort of an entry point for larger conversations, to build community and have important conversations.
So you sort of act as an ambassador for the state? Is that
Absolutely,
how that works?
yeah.
So where do you go? Who do you talk to?
You know, I'll be going all over the state. I'll be talking to writers groups, to youth. I've had a ton of requests for things to, you know, perform poetry, to moderate conversations, and really anywhere I'm invited, I'm going to try to make it there.
And what do you do in your real life? Because this is not a full-time job.
Yeah, so during the day, I am in social work. I manage a team of social workers with Denver Human Services, and I serve as the program manager for the Unaccompanied Refugee Minor program. I also do a lot of acting and other types of work outside of that, so I have these sort of multi-hyphenated professional identities.
So you have an opportunity to really reach out to people on so many different levels, and what ultimately is it that you want people to know or to learn?
You know, I think that, again, for me, poetry is a tool to have broader conversations about what's happening in our world right now. All of my work focuses from a foundation of social justice work. So I'm really interested in amplifying marginalized voices, to tell undertold stories, and to really give our state a more robust understanding of what poetry can be.
So do you look at what's in the news, like on any particular day or given week, or just what people are talking about at the time?
Absolutely. I feel like poetry is such an observational art form. And so the news influences things I write, interactions I have in the real world. I think we take everything in, and, you know, our output is a collection of all of those things.
So how do you become a poet?
You know, I don't know if you become one or if you just sort of are one. I talk about being a poet as really a worldview. You know, this observation, these making connections between things that seemingly don't have a relationship. It's really about the way that I see the world, and it's an amazing approach to living, and I enjoy it very much.
Yeah, it's fascinating what you're out there doing. So tell me, where will you be next? Are you in schools a lot as well?
Yeah, so I've received a lot of inquiries from teachers, professors all over wanting me to come in and chat with students, to teach workshops, to talk about what it means to be the first person of color in this position. So there's a lot of interest in having me talk about art and culture, poetry, as well as sort of the activist parts of my work.
So to help kids also think that they can become a poet? Is that part of your message?
Absolutely, I think so. I think when we see people in positions that look like us, that represent our voices, it makes it that much more tangible.
Anybody you look up to? Anybody who inspired you?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this city was rich in mentors and cultural icons, you know, so we had a rich Chicano movement history here. So leaders and poets and activists like Corky Gonzalez, my mentor Tony Garcia at Su Teatro, who helped me recently produce a play, old poets, veteran poets like Lalo Delgado, who was my professor at Metro State.
Such a beautiful voice.
Absolutely. So folks like that, Trinidad Sanchez Jr., these are folks that I grew up listening to and ultimately ultimately served as mentors.
Well, we're looking forward to seeing you around the state of Colorado as Colorado's new poet laureate.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Nice having you here. Appreciate it. Listen, if you ever have a question or a segment idea, you can tweet us at Denver7Politics. And don't forget, you can watch today's segments anytime at thedenverchannel.com/Politics Unplugged. And thank you for spending part of your weekend with us. We will see you back here next Sunday for another edition of Politics Unplugged.